the quote is from Nina Simone. And this is years ago, but it's so profound when you think about it today. And the quote says the following: "Greed has driven the world crazy, and I think I'm lucky that I have a place over here that I can call home." I want to take the first one of that quote out and sort of put it in bold and talk about it. Greed has driven the world crazy. Now let's put it in perspective. We had the attacks in Paris this past Friday. And I took a moment when, as the attacks were happening, and sort of watching the people of Paris become so resilient, but also watching the loss of lives, right? And I said to myself, I said, how do we get here as a nation? How do we get here as a world? And the only answer to that question is greed, right? Because the reason why we colonized, or not us, well, Western Europe colonized the Middle East the way that it is because they wanted more land, more resources, greed. That same greed in America today is why you have public school systems that are broken because people are trying to sap out the money to go to charter schools. Or you have politicians that care more about raising money and making money than they actually do about serving their constituents. Because greed has taken our world down a really crazy path. And, you know, we could turn it around. It's possible to turn it around. But how we turn it around is saying, everybody, it's not a zero-sum game. We all need to work together. Like before we start thinking about greed and what we can do to make our lives better, let's think about what we can do to make our community lives better. Because if we improve the community, we improve ourselves. And you think about all the debates that we have in Washington, and it's always an us versus them thing. But we're all in this together. And we start viewing the world and start viewing our issues and start viewing our lives as all of us in it together, the greed immediately goes away because you look for the greatest good for the greatest number of people. And greed is the opposite. Greed is the greatest good for me and screw everybody else. But in screwing everybody else, you screw yourself, right? Because you think about all those European powers who said, oh, we need to do what's in it for us. So we're going to carve Iraq to look like this. And we're going to carve Syria to look like that. And we're going to carve Iran to look like this. Now, hundreds of years later, their ancestors are being killed because of colonialism gone bad.